Okay, I was already talking about these textures of Caitlin's in the discussion, and I was telling her that um, it would probably help to have the marks be smaller, so that the pencil stroke isn't so apparent, because that's going to foil the illusion that you want. However, I do like the character of these strokes. I like the way that you're moving the pencil freely, and it looks like you're working expediently here, Caitlin. Hi, Anthony. I think here I'm most interested in your tree bark. In fact, we've got a few good examples of tree bark among the different textures that were submitted. Um, I like the way that there's a heart-like shape and then even something that looks a bit like an eyeball tucked in there. It's kind of fun, even though it's not perfectly realistic. I think it can be useful to include a little humor or wit in your art at times. So, Anna, when seen in context of the rest of the class, your textures look very subtle, but I also note that there's a lot of attention given here. It looks as though you ruled umpteen lines in the top one, and I know that's a time-consuming process, and repetitive marks are a good way to create the illusion of texture very often. Well, Deborah, I'm liking your wood grain here too. The second one, I'll have to go back and take a look at the discussion. I'm not recognizing this texture. I don't know if it would be something like a marble or maybe a crinkled paper. Jennifer V, something that you did a little different here was to make planks there in your wood grain texture, which is effective. With a glass tile, I'm thinking maybe there could be a difference um, in the level of the grout versus the tile, or maybe you'd like to do a closer view of this. It looks a little just like a tic-tac-toe board or a gridded piece of paper. I think there's probably room for just a smidge more variation, maybe. You guys have to pardon me. You can hear I'm losing my voice, but otherwise I'm well. Well, Heidi, I think you have something going here. On the right, it's looking like birch bark, which is a favorite texture of mine. I really love the way that white bark with the dark horizontal lines looks. It's an excellent subject to draw. If you wanted to draw a tree, a birch tree, or even a cherry tree with the bark that goes that way, it helps you to describe how the tree is cylindrical, its trunk. Samantha, I haven't seen this work. I guess you submitted it late. The one that's grabbing my attention is the one on the right. It looks something like burlap. I like the way that the strokes are not exactly parallel. It's suggesting that the fabric is stretching a little bit. So Jennifer W., I said before I thought this brick was pretty persuasive. No, the knotty pine, that's a really good idea. But I'm wondering if there needs to be a stronger linear quality for the wood grain. It might be that you're working with charcoal and that's a little hard to get. I would suggest either a charcoal pencil, using that last of all, or maybe taking a stick of compressed charcoal and sharpening it by rubbing it on sandpaper, and that's going to be a big mess. You'll want to do that over the trash can and then wipe the point of the charcoal with some tissue.